Hello, everyone, and happy Sunday. Simon here with AvaTrade, and we are starting our weekly webinar, the weekly trading plan, and that's going to be for the week of the 18th of October. I hope you had a great week, and of course, I hope you're enjoying the weekend and getting all the energy needed for the upcoming week. We'll need it. Um, what we'll do today is as regular, we'll go a little bit through fundamentals, what's happening in the big picture. We'll look at economic calendar and see what could be happening the upcoming week, and then we'll focus on specific instruments. Before we go any further, as usual, I would like to read the risk warning. Any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only and should not be construed or applied as investment advice, recommendation, or suggestion. CFDs are complex instruments and come with high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 71% of retail investor accounts lose money with trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. And if you'd like to read more, you can find it on avatrade.com. And of course, with contacts, you can reach out on Twitter and, of course, the YouTube, which you can find a lot of recorded information. You can sign up and get updates, and you have tutorials, you have fundamental analysis videos, technical analysis videos, and webinars are being posted there as recorded. So it's something that you can use on a regular basis. And agenda is a regular agenda. It could be not in the same order, but we'll be going through indices, Forex pairs, commodities, and stocks. Okay, so before we go any further, I just want to switch to the MT4 platform. We'll be working with it in a moment. And what I would like to start with is the big picture, what's been happening and what's waiting for us in the upcoming week. So a few things. Market had a bounce this past week, and it's very interesting because we did have a high inflation numbers that came out, and market initially sold, and then Thursday and Friday we had a strong move up. I'm showing the S&Ps as an idea here. So we had 3 straight days up on indices in general, and let's see what's happening this week. So few things big picture. As we said the previous week, we're starting the earnings season. So just to give you a few numbers to have an idea, so far about 8% of S&P 500 stocks reported, not a lot, but out of those 8%, 80% are beating the earnings. So that's a robust number, and I think that could be the reason why the market reacted in a positive way, and we had a strong closing of the week. And a lot of analysts are saying that it's really unusual for October, and it's one of the best Octobers so far as recovery. And let's see, what the upcoming week brings us. So that's as far as the positive things. On the negative side, there's still a supply chain issues. The ports are having issues unloading. A lot of boats outside full of containers. There's a lack of drivers. There's a lot of issue there. And in the upcoming week, I believe on Wednesday, President Biden is meeting with executives of Walmart, FedEx, and UPS, and they will be discussing things and see how they can improve things. And they'll be encouraged, or they already try to do working 24/7 to really fix the issue. A lot of small retailers are a little bit scared of lacking of the products, and we are in October and we're not that far from Christmas. If the issue is not solved till then, it's going to be a lot of issues, because Christmas sales are a huge, having huge impact on the economy in the States for sure, and globally, of course. So that's as far as the negative part of it. Bitcoin, there's a lot of excitement around Bitcoin. We'll go in a moment to see it. They announced that Monday or Tuesday, the ETF will be coming out on Bitcoin. They already have a name for it. It's BITO. That's going to be the symbol. And it might start trading on Monday or Tuesday. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of positive things, and Bitcoin's been moving up. We'll talk about it in a moment. So again, we have positive earnings coming out. We have issues with the supply chains, and we have continuous earnings. And we'll be talking about a few companies that are reporting this coming week. That includes Tesla, Intel, AT&T, and Amex, American Express. And we'll focusing a little bit. We'll be looking at the charts and trying to see what could be the move there, what could be the potential trade. And before we go into specific instruments, I would like to go through economic calendar briefly and just share with you what's happening. And again, as I always say, I encourage you to use it. You can do it as I do. I try to do it a Saturday and Sunday. I just go through economic calendar and I mark for myself things that are important. And I'll explain why. And I say it all the time, but of course I know there are always new people coming to these webinars. And of course, I want to encourage all of you to share it with your friends, because I believe that these webinars are very useful, and it gives you ability to structure your upcoming week and days to see what are the possibilities. And you can always share with your friends, people that are trading, and invite them to these webinars. Of course, they're free, so there's no brainer. And so, as I said, it's important that part of your preparation for the week would be to browse through the economic calendar and see what's happening. So, few reasons you want to see certain things, certain countries, certain announcements that actually would be affecting the instruments that you trade. If you trade U.S. stocks or indices, you would be looking at announcements from the United States. If you trade European instruments, anything from Europe and so on. You have oil inventories or natural gas inventories, if that's what you trade. Like last week on Wednesday, we had inflational numbers. CPI will be affecting the whole market, will be affecting the US dollar, gold, and so on. So it's important. So let's go through it really quick. Monday, we have important things from China, which is GDP, gross domestic product, and we'll be watching for that. It just shows China as the major producer of goods for the whole world, pretty much. So it shows a little bit of what's happening on the production side. So that's on Monday. Then on Tuesday, we have RBA meeting minutes. That's from Australia. See what the Bank of Australia is saying. And then we have something to do with housing in the US. You have building permits and housing starts. That's also on Tuesday. On Wednesday, back to China, we have interest rate decision. And we have very important things on Wednesday to do with the UK. Of course, the pound and the FTSE will be affected, anything to do with UK. And those are inflation number we just mentioned a few minutes ago. We have the CPI numbers, and UK is really concerned about the high inflation. So we'll see how these numbers will be affecting the market. If the numbers are high again or higher than expected, we could see a negative effect on the FTSE potentially. and the pound could move higher because that would push, and they've been talking about it, actually UK, the Bank of England, they were talking about increasing the interest rate. So it will be very interesting to watch it on Wednesday. We have also inflation numbers from Canada, which is also very important because Canadian dollar has been very, very strong lately. Of course, it has a lot to do with oil prices that we'll be talking about as well today. Then on Thursday, we have initial jobless claims from the US. And again, Australia, we have governor speaking, governor of the Bank of Australia speaking. And then on Friday, we have PMI numbers from Germany, retail sales from UK, retail sales from Canada, and PMI numbers from UK again. So quite a few news. Really, I would encourage you to go through economic calendar and mark yourself certain events that are connected to the instruments that you trade. Okay, so that's economic calendar. Let's start with individual instruments. We'll go today. We'll look at some commodities. We'll look, of course, with the US dollar and a few pairs that we mentioned last week. We'll see how things played out and see something for this coming week. And we'll see, we'll take a look at a few stocks, including the stocks that are reporting in this coming week. So I would like to start with copper. It's been super strong. Take a look at this week. This is one of the strongest week, I think, ever, or at least in the past few years. Let's actually take a look. Take a look at this bar, and I really don't see another one for quite a few years. So very strong week on copper. I guess somebody thinks that is demand, but it could be the supply. As we know, lately we have a shortage supply for a lot of things that include natural gas, that includes oil, and it could be the copper as well. Based on this, somebody's really running to buy it. So let's take a look on daily chart. First, the weekly. We came on Friday on the daily chart, came as high as 477.75, and actually we right to the point from which was sold out. So it's interesting how, let's see, pretty much the same level. So we'll be watching this week, especially with the production news from China, as China is, I believe it's #1 importer of copper, and we'll see how things play out. Very strong 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we retraced on Friday. So we could expect a little bit of a pullback on a copper, and it's something to watch this upcoming week. So that's as far as copper. Crude oil, it's continuing its run. As we said, we're really going through resistance levels pretty easily. Take a look. That's the second week that we're just continuing. We didn't stop at all on these previous resistance levels, and we close on the highs on Friday. So we could see continuation. And as far as the chart, technically, we could go, and we spoke about it. There's some analysts predicting $100 price tag on crude oil till the end of the year, and it could be that we're getting there. Here, nothing really, pretty much holding it. We felt over here from 92.95, with $10 away from it, we could be continuing higher. Let's see what's happening the upcoming week. And as we hear already, as usually, we're looking at the stocks that connected to oil prices. This is the Chevron, strong move, ExxonMobil as well. They're still not out of the woods completely, but strong lately. Natural gas, after this robust move to almost 6.5, it's been selling off for the past few days. And it looks like over here, we said it, I think, last week, a week before, that instruments tend to close the gaps. So this bar over here on the 12th of October literally closed the gap and then we bounce from it. So few things could happen. We could go and retest this 517 level. We can establish some kind of support over here around 533 and go higher. So this area between 517 and 533 will be very interesting. It could be a lot of actions there, and we'll be watching it on natural gas. Gold, as the market moved higher the last few days, gold actually moved with it, and then Friday was a sell-off on gold. It was pretty strong sell-off, judging by the size of the bar. And we're back to retesting the 1760, 1750 area. Let's see what's happening this coming week. This move was very strong, but it couldn't hold. As you could see, that was Wednesday. The move was very strong. We broke out of the previous small resistances here. And Thursday, we didn't do much. We tried to go higher, but we closed within the previous large candle. And Friday was just a free fall. Let's take a look on the hourly chart. It just fell off the bed and it kept going lower. So let's see. Technically, it's very simple. We want to see the action of the Friday low, which was 1764, 1765. Just draw the line here. And let's see what gold is doing. After this fall, it tried to return, but it came right back and was sitting really at the low of this range. So a lot of pressure on gold for some reason. Let's see what's happening this week. Palladium, it was a nice bounce that we said, and then the correction this week was a continuation, but we closed lower. This level 2066, 2067 is a key level. If we manage to hold above it, it could be continuation to the upside. If it starts showing some price action to the downside, we could go and retest the previous support here as well. So that's as far as commodities. And let's move into dollar index, and then we'll continue to indices and stocks. Dollar index. Wednesday was a strong sell. We pretty much removed the previous 2 days of gains, but we didn't go any lower. So Wednesday was drop, and then Thursday and Friday we pretty much didn't move. So we'll be watching what's happening this week. On the weekly chart, we're out of this 93.21, and if we choose to go higher, so 94.78 will be a strong resistance to move. And if we choose to slide lower here, then we're coming back to the previous levels of around 93.20. We'll be watching what's happening. And again, one of the things that the trader could do is really to take one level at a time, and that in this case, Friday's low would be the next level to watch. So Friday low was 93.83. Let's see if we're holding here. If you look at the hourly chart, the last few hours, it was a move up, and then we couldn't go lower. So it looks kind of on the upside, but we're not gonna guess. We'll just see. So basically, Friday's high, it could be a potential signal for moving higher. Friday's low would be potential move to go lower. No brainer there. And as far as potential larger moves, the same thing on the weekly chart. Take a look. We pretty much closing on the same level. The close of this week of 26 September, 94.07. The close of the previous week, 94.09, and the close of last week is 93.93. So after this move, recovery move here, we're pretty much holding at these levels here about 93.82. So that's bullish. That's kind of accumulation going on. So potentially we could see a move higher. And of course, with all the issues and inflation growing, the latest kind of noise from analysts said, of course, November they announced that the tapering is happening, but with the latest inflation data, they said that they could also jump into tightening the interest rates. So that, of course, potentially would cause the dollar to go higher. So dollar will be watching on a potential continuation if we are holding current levels here. Now, let's continue with Forex pairs. And we said a lineup over here. We said I think we had 11 pairs to do either with Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. As we said, the Canadian dollar was really strong due to the oil prices going higher, and the yen was weak. So we said the Cad Jpy was the strongest because it went both ways: strong Canadian dollar and weak yen. And take a look how crazy the move is. Went four straight weeks higher, and we just went through these resistances here without any issues, and we're continuing higher. So we'll be watching Canadian dollar potential move higher, and of course, those of us could get lucky to catch the reversal would be nice. But so far, it's very, very strong. There's no signs of weakness. And what I drawn here, 93.23, it's about 80 pips from now, from the current price. This is the level from which we had the hard time. This is monthly chart, so each candle is a month. We had 2 months hitting the same price pretty much, 93.23, and the following month, 93.22. So pretty much the same level. It could be that potentially the huge limit sellers are still sitting there. So it could be that at that point we'll have a hard time going any higher, and we'll be watching this level, 93.20 level. Okay, we're about 80 pips from there. So if we are continuing higher this week, we should be watching this as a potential strong resistance. I'm not saying reversal could happen, especially after the strong moves higher, but at least we could see some hard resistance here, and that would show the potential we could see reversals. So that's Canadian JPY still continuing. Usd Cad, we said we could see the bounce, and we did. This week was strong for Usd Cad, 91.12. So for those that were looking to enter, there was some profits to the upside, and there's a potential of continuation here. Usd Jpy, very strong. Yen has been very, very weak. And on the weekly chart, we are approaching a potential resistance here. Big tail, and from here we're sold out. So we're really close to that potential resistance around 84.80, 85 area. We'll be watching it for potential any action. We could continue going higher because there's space. If you look at the monthly chart, take a look. We didn't retest the lows here, and we had a very strong month so far, and we facing this resistance. So if we do break out of it, there's a potential of going higher. And if we're having a hard time breaking it, of course, we're going to slide back down to retest these supports. Chf Jpy also super strong. Let's see a monthly chart. We see potential levels. It's hard to say. We could make up these levels here. It doesn't mean that we're right here, but this is the level that after the tail we slid lower. So it could be 123.90, 124. Could be resistance, but we easily could go higher, retest the highs as well. So we'll be watching this 124 area for Swiss franc JPY. Let's move on. Nzd Jpy also very nice. It held the level here. The level, as we said, level of previous resistance became a support. And this week was very, very strong. So potentially we could see move higher over here on Nzd Jpy. Euro JPY. In general, Euro's been very weak as well, but of course against yen, it did move higher. The yen, as I said, it's been the weakest lately. So, and we are coming to these levels. If you take a look, there was a resistance, support, back to resistance around 137.50. And we closed right on that level. So we'll be watching again as yen, it could be getting some strength back. It's been super weak. I repeat it again. And euro is not that strong lately, so we could see a bounce back to the downside. Aussie NZD. This was a nice setup. I think we spoke about it last week that we're coming to the previous level of resistance, and then beautifully 106. We went about 115, 120 pips move, and let's see what's happening this week. Euro CAD, as CAD is continue being strong, Euro's weakness is showing clearly here. The only thing is that we are playing with this level here, 143.43. So if we do lift our head above it, we could continue to the upside because it looks like it's losing its momentum to the downside. It's been holding these levels here. So it's very, very crucial here on Euro CAD. Let's see how we're holding this 143.40, 133.50 level. And GBP CAD is actually a little bit stronger. It bounced about the level 169.50. And it's a neutral week. So it's a sign of strength a little bit potentially. Again, it could be our wishful thinking, but it could be, again, we mentioned something that inflational data is coming this week. So it could be more reasons for the Bank of England to raise the rates, and it shows, the chart shows that the weakness, it's slowing down a little bit. So we could see a potential move. At least we established this level here, 169.54. We about 52, 53. We're above it. So this could be our potential a reference as far as the strength. If we trading or building up above the level, we could continue going higher here. Pound yen, super strong. Of course, the weakness of yen is showing again. And we could mark this level here. And we are playing with this level now. 156.60, 167 area. We're going higher. So again, if yen continues to being weak, and we'll get in a moment for dollar yen to see how it looks, this could be a continuation to the upside. But judging that we came really quick to this level, it could be that we might have a hard time going straight higher. We could have a little bit of a pullback over here. But again, let's see what happens this week. USD CAD. Dollar, as we show on dollar index, has been a little bit weak, and CAD was super strong. And we had so far 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks to the downside, and we are trying to find some support somewhere. And this could be 123 level, about 60 pips from it. It could be the next support that could stop this fall over here. Let's see how we play around that level. Nzd Cad, nice move. We had the 3 straight days up. We actually spoke about these levels here. It's very nice. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks straight down, and this week was a nice recovery for Nzd Cad. Let's see if it has some steam to continue. And dollar yen, as we said, we'll show it in a moment. It's been super strong. Yen's weakness, even on the weak dollar in general, yen is much weaker, as you could see over here. So we'll be watching what's next. This level here, 114.54, could be our next reference. 114.50. We didn't touch it yet, so we'll be watching for that level to show us what's next. This is the level from which we sold recently. We touched it on it's not so recent, 3 years ago. So we're approaching a 3 years old level, okay? And we're getting there very strong on the huge bars. So potentially we could fail to break it. So 114.50, or if not, then the high of this bar, 114.45, the high of last week, could be a reference. We'll be watching it, what's happening next. So that's as far as dollar yen. As we said, I'll repeat it again, yen has been super weak. One of the reasons the market recovered, and it's a risk on, and the risk on means the funds are going directly into equities and flowing out of the safe havens, which are normally gold, Japanese yen, and sometimes Swiss franc. So we'll be watching what's happening this upcoming week. And I just lined up the major pairs, just take a really quick look at them. This is Australian dollar. We established the support 172.20, so we're on the way up potentially, and we could squeeze it a little bit higher to this previous level of resistance. Euro in general has been super weak, but technically start establishing something after this candle that erased the previous losses, and we're trading in the top of the candle. So potentially it could mean that we'll try to take it higher over here. British pound has been strong, like we said. There's a potential interest rate increase from the Bank of England, and it's been strong, but we stopped right at the previous level of resistance from which we sold. So this 137.50, let's say, level, we closed below it. So let's see if we manage to go higher than Friday's highs, or we'll start building some bearish formations here for potential correction to the downside. Let's see, New Zealand dollar had a very strong week. We erased 3 weeks of move down. Let's see what's next for this pair. And similar idea, we're approaching these tails of resistance. And let's take a look at USD ZAR. USD ZAR has been selling off a little bit on the weakness of the dollar, and it could be that we're coming to 14.50 to retest the previous supports. That could be also a possibility. And the last one, I'll take a look at USD NOK, something to do with the dollar, as we know. I'm sorry, with Norwegian krona. As we know, Norway is a big producer of oil, so oil is affecting it as well. And we are coming to these tails levels over here around 841. We closed higher. So potentially, if the oil cools down again, it might not, but if it does, and if the dollar gets a little bit steam, a little bit strength, we could see a bounce from these levels on USD NOK. So that's as far as Forex. And let's move to indices. We'll start with S&P 500, and actually something that caught my attention. Where is this? Okay, S&P 500 with Friday's move actually back to about 50 moving average, 50-day moving average, and that's a bullish signal. That's what those analysts are looking for. And probably this upcoming week, they'll start screaming it, oh, we're above 50% moving average again. So yes, we are. We didn't touch the 100. And I like to take one day at a time, and let's see how we're dealing with this level from which we sold. And the high here was 44.71.75. Let's do 44.72 even. So let's see what this week brings with all the issues and all the earnings. We might see some surprises. So that's S&P. And Nasdaq also had a strong week. Dow Jones, the same thing. FTSE surprised everybody. If you look at the daily chart, we're actually out of this resistance here, and it's been very strong. And take a look how actually the price action did. It was a gap and go and another gap and go. A few things. Yes, it does look strong, but a lot of times when we see these gaps in continuation, it's something they call the short squeezes. And in some cases, especially if multiple gap and go could signal a reversal. It could be my wishful thinking as well, but from my experience, these things sometimes end up with a reversal and hard falls. So we'll be watching the FTSE. DAX also strong week. We're on the way to retest the previous resistance. CAC 40, the same thing. And our famous Nifty 50 is a champion again, all-time highs, and nothing stops it. It's unstoppable, like the Indian motorcycles are. They just go without any issues. So we'll watch this instrument on the continuation. And let's take a look now at a few stocks. I'll start with the ones that are reporting this upcoming week. Intel is reporting. It's been very, very weak. Nothing major here, but it looks like we're coming to try to break out from this long range. After this fall over here, we've been ranging for about 60 days. That's 3 months in trading. So let's see if the earnings will help Intel to break out of it. It's had a tight range between $2-3 range, but it's been sitting here for 60 trading days. Nothing's happening. Tesla, on the other hand, very, very strong. We've been talking about Tesla every time we meet, and a lot of good things for Tesla. Tesla is reporting this week, and some analysts are moving the target price from 850 to 950. And a lot of good news from Tesla. Nothing bad is coming. They're beating the production. They're doing okay, even with the shortage of chips. They are affected by it, of course. Nobody's immune, but they're dealing with it somehow. And the stock is doing great. The investors are liking it. So Tesla is reporting. Johnson & Johnson is reporting as well. And take a look. We had 3 days up, also with gaps. And I believe there's also a vaccine-related news on Johnson & Johnson. I think FDA said that it's okay to use the booster that's produced by Johnson & Johnson. So maybe on top of this news, the stock is moving up. AT&T is also reporting. It's been very, very hard for AT&T lately. The stock is selling off. If you look at the monthly chart, we came to this plateau here. So it could be possibly that we're finding a support. Let's see what the earnings are coming and how it will affect the stock. And American Express is reporting as well. The stock's been very strong. And let's see how we deal with this 176.50 level. We had a lot of tails that couldn't break, including the last day, the Friday. We had few gaps as the market. I think a lot of stocks showing gaps because the futures are trading pre-market. And I think when the stocks are opening, they're just following the futures, and that's why you see these gaps a lot on the market moving up. This could be the reason. So let's see what earnings are, and let's see if we manage to go high here. These are all-time highs. So we also could see a resistance that so far we couldn't break. And let's take a look at our usual suspects. Last week, by the way, the biggest banks, they posted good earnings. So let's take a look how it shows on the chart. Goldman Sachs back about 406, about 400 psychological level, very strong. Same thing with gaps, including the Friday gap was huge. JP Morgan, great results. Citigroup as well, but it looks like Citigroup shows the weakest out of them. Microsoft so far, I went through the news and analysts reports and so on. Microsoft is stock that so far there's no negative news there, and something it's worth watching. So Microsoft, a very strong recovery after this sell-off in the market. We'll be watching. And Facebook, a lot of bad things on Facebook, as we know. We spoke about it, a few things, testimonies and so on. And there are a few articles saying that more bad news coming out for Facebook, and they said it's not something that the insiders are going to bring, something the analysts are going to raise, because they say statistically when things reports or news coming out, like we had few things on Facebook, they being accused of endangering things and so on, and the insider was testifying. So right after that, the analyst actually coming in and start pouring more, I don't know if I can say more dirt on the stock or on the company, but they are predicting a lot of a hard time for Facebook in upcoming days and weeks. So we'll be watching that on Facebook. Netflix, after these robust moves, Friday was a sell-off day, okay? And on the up market, everything going up, it's a sell-off, so we could see continuation to the downside as well. Amazon, very strong move. We on the way to retest the previous resistance here, 34.27. Walmart, we said that we bounced. There's a big pension fund they're managing about 30 billion. They increase their position in Walmart. They give a little bit of boost, but we are having a hard time breaking 140. And just to remind those of you that we spoke about, the whole move started with Amazon announced they opening retail stores, and that would be a huge competition for Walmart. And since that announcement, Walmart really sold strongly. And let's see, we're actually at the key level at the 140, 140 and a half. If we're holding, going higher, we could see the move higher on Walmart, or the opposite could happen. We can retest the support, and if we failed the previous supports, we can slide lower there. Nike, that was some bad news on Nike. We came right back. We closed the gap, right? We said closing the gap. It could mean few things. We can close and continue. We can close and return back where we came from. So it's very, very important levels here, 157, 158 on Nike. And let's see what this upcoming week is bringing us on that. And let's finish with Bitcoin. We spoke about it in the beginning of the webinar, and we said the ETF is coming. Again, to remind, they already came up with the name for it, BITO. And it could be starting as soon as Monday or Tuesday. It's trading experience. It's going to be very interesting to watch it. And so far, Bitcoin of all this recent news. Just to remind you again, the first move out of the breaking out the 52, 53 range, it was when Powell and Yellen and US in general, they announced that they're not looking to ban Bitcoin or any other currencies. And that was very strong news for Bitcoin after China has done the opposite. They banned all the cryptocurrencies from any kind of transactions. So let's see, it's going to be an interesting week. And we so far have been as high as 62, almost 800, 62, 782. And so far, it's a little bit of retracement happening. So that's Bitcoin. Again, I want to thank everyone. I want to welcome the new visitors, new listeners. And I wish everyone a great upcoming week. Enjoy the weekend of whatever is left out of it. Get some energy, stay positive. Of course, be safe and healthy with all the COVID going on. And have a plan. And again, plan the trade and trade your plan. All the best, everyone. Take care.